Kelly. I'm one of Stone's Fitness nutritionists. We've been doing Nutrition 101 for 3 weeks now. It is our 6-week course, and it goes over everything that you could think of for nutrition. It goes over the basics of nutrition. So we'll start off with a quiz so that we can kind of see where you're at, and our goal is by the end of the quiz you know these answers just right off the bat. You don't need to search or guess. Week 1 we start off with a pantry clean out. We have like grocery shopping on a budget, and we go through how to understand nutrition labels, and then we continue on with the winning mindset. So that's week 2. So in week 2 we discuss really how to sustain what you're doing. We talk about self-sabotaging when it comes to nutrition, how to take negative connotations when it comes to food and make it positive. And then we also talk about supplements, omegas, and then we do also have a SMART goal guide in there so that you're making goals for yourself that are actually attainable and that you can actually reach. So this week, for week 3, we brought it to Facebook Live because we can't be actually at Stone's right now. So if you do have one of our nutrition books, we're on week 3, and we're talking about meal planning and meal prepping. So first I'm going to go over meal planning and meal prepping and how to make it easier, and some quick tips and like tricks that you can do. So in week 3, it's all about simplicity and how to make, your Sunday or your Wednesday or whatever day it is, meal prep day, not last all day long. How can I get it done in an hour or 2 so that I'm not doing this all day? So one of the tips that we have is to pre-wash and chop your fruits and vegetables. Like whenever you go to the store and you buy everything, just come home, wash them, cut them, and put them in like baggies or your Tupperware container and stick them in the fridge. You can also buy them already chopped and washed. That's one way to cut down on time if you buy them already done. You can kind of get a little bit more if you buy them in, like if you buy a whole pineapple instead of buying the already cut pineapple. So that's just kind of what fits your budget and what you prefer. Some people just don't want to cut vegetables. I get it. If you don't mind, buy the whole fruit and just chop it up. You can also freeze some of your fruits and some of your vegetables so they'll last longer if you're going to put them in smoothies or something like that. Another thing to save time is to use, like I just said, like pre-packaged things. You can also get pre-packaged steamed rice, and since I'm actually in my house, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So something like this, it's pre-packaged. Uncle Ben's has some. The glare is terrible. Uncle Ben's has some also, but you just stick it in the microwave for 90 seconds, and now you have a rice or a veggie. You can do it with vegetables as well. And this can save time on if you didn't meal prep dinner and you don't want to drive through the fast food, have some protein source already in your fridge, and we'll go over that in just a second. Throw this in the microwave and you have a little meal. Vegetables you can throw in the microwave, or you can just eat fresh and raw, or you can do the same thing with fruit. So tip 3 is to plan out a base menu for the week ahead, and that way you don't go through the what do you want for dinner tonight? If you can already have your menu set out, you know what to get from the grocery store, you know what you're gonna cook. Like Tuesdays is gonna be turkey chili or a taco bowl or whatever. You already know what you're gonna make. You've either already prepped it or you have the ingredients ready so that you can easily prep it. Step 4 is to buy in bulk when you can. So like I said, you can get frozen vegetables, frozen fruit. You can also get like potatoes and things like that already frozen. So if you make like a breakfast hash, which is one of the recipes we have in our booklet, if you buy it already cut and chopped and you can stick it in the freezer. You can just grab the bag and you can just cook a big pan, and then you're good to go for breakfast for the week. Same with frozen fruit. You can freeze them all, and then whenever you're ready to make your shake or whatever it is, you can just grab your cup and throw it in there. They last longer. Frozen fruits and vegetables last longer. They stay fresher longer. So that's one way to save time on buying. That's one way to save some money, is to buy in bulk. So step 5 is to separate your snacks and stuff into individual containers with their serving size. So if you have a bag of pistachios or something like that, and you just take the container and put them in the 1 or 2 ounce servings that is on the back of on the nutrition label, you're going to be less tempted to just snack on the whole bag. And there's something that you can just grab from the pantry and throw in your bag and you have with you throughout the day. So you already have that snack with you. You can do the same thing with whole fruits like bananas, oranges, apples. That's something that you can just throw in your bag, and you won't have to worry about macros. You won't have to worry about, am I eating too much of this, the calorie amount, the serving size. You've already done that. So it'll be easier whenever you're going through about your day. You can go in there, especially like if you have kids. I know a lot of them are at home right now, or I guess all of them are at home right now. So if you take their snacks and put them in single servings, they can just go grab that one little baggie, and there's their, 1 serving, 1.5 serving, however much you want to do for them, already done. So with my last option, I kind of just included those together. You can set a bin out on the counter again with some whole fruits, peaches, apples, mangoes, whatever you want it to be. And that way you can just grab and go. So if you're going to head out the door and you're going to go somewhere, and you want it doesn't need to be kept cold. So grab a banana, throw it in your bag, grab an apple, throw it in your bag. And that way you have a snack that you can go and have later on. So one thing that we do also talk about in Nutrition 101 is to have like a base protein and a base starch. So when we say base, so make a pan of chicken, have them already cooked. And then Monday you can do chicken street tacos. Tuesday you can do like chicken and rice and like a vegetable. Let's see, like our example in our book, Thursday is a chicken BLT with avocado. You can also do that with turkey. So let me see if I can make this so you can see. So we kind of have 2 examples already. So if you make a base protein and a base carb, so like potatoes, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, rice, like brown rice, regular rice, anything like that, you have the base. So you can make whatever you want with it, and you can just add the other ingredients. You already have the chicken cooked, you already have the rice cooked, so you can throw in the seasoning or different kind of like marinades, your vegetable, you can throw your vegetables in there, and you already have something that's basically prepared. You can just change it up throughout the week. So some examples with ground turkey, you can do turkey bowl or taco bowl one day. You can make some crispy tacos another. You can make an egg and turkey quiche for breakfast. You can do turkey chili. You can make some lettuce wraps. So with that one, pan of turkey that you've made, you have multiple different options to make lunches or dinners or breakfast throughout the week. All right, so now we're gonna get into the macro part of our week. So I'm gonna see if I can make this easier for everyone to see. So when we talk about macros, we have, it's my dog walking around in the background. We have our proteins, carbs, and our fat that we go over, which are our macronutrients. So when it comes to trying to maintain body weight or lose like body fat or gain muscle, you want to look at your calories as a whole for the whole entire day, and then split up those calories into your macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats. So one of the easiest way to do that, we'll take protein first. protein is going to be one of the most important aside from carbs. But your carbs and your fats can be on a sliding scale when it comes to figuring out what your macronutrients are, and that'll make sense in just a second. So with your proteins, we want to look at 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So let me see if I can switch this around real fast. All right. So this might be a little easier for everyone to see. So I've done an example, and if y'all cannot hear me, let me know. So I've done an example right here. So the first is going to be protein. So you want to take 0.8 to 1, so you want to pick. So with this example for weight loss, I've first found my calories. So if you want to lose body fat, you want to multiply it by 10. If you want to maintain where you are, you want to multiply it by 15. And if you want to gain muscle mass, you want to multiply it by 20. So right here to lose, for weight loss, I took 170 times 10 to lose some body fat. So that would be my total calories per day. And then for protein, I multiplied it by 1, and that would be 175 grams of protein. So this person wants to get 175 grams of protein per day total. And then I also did carbs. I multiplied 1 by 175 grams. I multiplied 1 gram, by 175, which would be the body weight in pounds. And that gives me 175 grams of carbs for the day total. And then your fats, you're going to fill in the rest. So for fat, I have 38 grams of fat. So to get that number, your protein and your carbohydrates are both multiplied by 4. You have 4 calories per gram for both protein and, that should say carb, sorry, for both protein and your carbs. Your fats are going to be 9 calories per gram. So if you take 175 times 4, you get 700. So I did that for both my protein. Again, this should be carbs. And that total is going to be 1,400. So if I take my total for the day, now I want to lose weight. I want to lose body fat. So if I want to lose body fat, you take this total minus the 1,400, and you have 350 left. So this is essentially 350 grams of fat per day, but because fat is going to be 9 calories per gram, you divide it by 9, and that gives you your 38 grams of fat. I know that's a lot of information, so I'm going to try and leave this up here so you can do or write it down. So if you're wanting to, let's say you have somebody who wants to maintain their body weight. They would take their weight and multiply it by 15, and that would give them a total calories per day. And then they would take their protein. Now, if they are an athlete, I typically recommend 1 gram of 1 gram per body weight. You can do 0.8, but that doesn't really give you a whole lot of protein for the day. So especially, it's going to be hard, honestly, it'll be hard to reach 175 grams of protein. So I do 1 gram because you have that extra protein in there so that you can get a little bit more protein in. Oh, where's my arrow? And then whenever you do carbs, so again, the example is somebody who is trying to maintain weight. So they can multiply this number by 1/2 their body weight, and then they'll get their amount of carbs. So these numbers are for the day. And then they'll take the rest. You want to add those numbers up and then subtract it by your total calories, and you'll have what you need for fat. Now you want to remember that you need to divide the number you get here by 9 because fat offer 9 calories per gram. So you use more calories to burn fat. then you do your protein and your carb. So you're gonna have 9 calories when it comes to your fat percentage. So you have to divide this number by 9, whatever number you get here. If you gain muscle, you're gonna take this number, you're gonna multiply it by 20. This is gonna be a higher number because somebody who's gonna wanna gain some muscle, they're going to wanna eat more. So if you're trying to gain muscle, you're trying to get like more muscle mass, you know, an athlete, they're working out all the time, they need more calories to sustain that energy. So their calories are going to be higher than someone who's trying to lose weight, trying to lose body fat, or just trying to maintain. Let's see. Y'all can type questions if you have questions for me. I can see them. So now whenever you figure out these numbers, so you'll have 175 grams of protein for the day, for this example, 175 grams of carbs for the day, and then 38 grams of fat for the day. So that's for the entire day. So what you want to do is divide each of those numbers by the amount of times you're going to eat. So if you're going to eat 5 times a day, it'll be a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and then you'll have 2 snacks in there. So a snack can be between breakfast and lunch, and then between lunch and dinner. So you'll take 175, you'll divide it by 5, and that will give you the amount of, that'll be the amount of protein per meal. Leslie, 175 is just an example body weight. So I just took, this is an example for me. So if I were to lose weight, I would take my weight, which is 175, and then I would multiply it by 10. So you would do whatever sorry, that shouldn't be grams. Let's see. That's probably what. This will be pounds. Oops. I wish I had like a dry erase board or something. So this would be your weight in pounds multiplied by whatever your goal is. If you're trying to lose body fat, if you want to maintain your weight, or you're trying to gain muscle, that's where that 175 came from. Sorry, I didn't mean to put grams on there. And then you can go ahead and, because this should be carbs. My dog's toy on the counter. So let me see. So if we take 175 and we divide it by 5, so this would be 35 grams of protein per meal. This would be 35 grams of carbs per meal. And then if we take 38 and divide it by 5, that would be about 8 grams of fat per meal. You want to be eating at least 5 times a day. I know that seems a little daunting to some, but if you can eat more throughout the day, your body's going to utilize all of those nutrients so that you're burning more energy. You're burning energy more efficiently. If you're only eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I know some people only grab like maybe a breakfast and a dinner, or maybe a lunch and a dinner, you're not eating enough calories to sustain your goals. So for somebody that needs, 1,750 calories per day, 35 grams of protein and carb per meal, it's really hard, and I do not recommend you trying to get that much protein for like a breakfast or a lunch. And even if I did 175 divided by 2, that'd be 87 grams of protein, for example, for lunch and dinner. That's really hard on the body to try and digest and try and get through. So if you can split all of that up, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get those macros in and be sure that you're getting enough of your calories and each of your nutrients in throughout the day. 35 grams of protein for like a snack, that could be a protein shake. Or you can even have a higher protein amount for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then fill in the rest with your mid-morning and mid-afternoon snack. So like if you have, let's say, Greek yogurt, which could be 17 grams of protein, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner is going to be a little bit higher in protein. It's also going to be hard, you know, in all honesty, to make sure you have exactly 35 grams of protein per meal. So if you can kind of get close enough, if you're at 32, if you're at like 30 grams of protein at least, that's going to be a sufficient amount of protein. Same exact thing with your carbs and your fats. You kind of want to be close enough. So if you're at, let's say, what did I say? 38 divided by 5 for your fat is roughly 8 grams of fat per meal. So let's say, you know, one of your snacks doesn't have a fat in it, but you're getting, 14 grams of fat for dinner. Like, that'll be perfect. So it's kind of a learning curve. It's going to be a little bit of a give and take, but this is a little quick kind of rundown example of how your macros kind of adjust. You can even do 6 meals a day. So if you did 175 divided by 6, that would be 30 grams of protein. So if I did 175 divided by 6, that would be 30 grams of protein. That would be 30 grams of carbs. And then that would be like 6 grams of fat. So I know we kind of have a common misconception that you shouldn't eat before bed or you can't eat after 7. I mean, that's not necessarily true, especially if you're getting your proteins. Now, you don't want to have a very high calorie meal before bed, but if it's something like Greek yogurt, something like a protein shake, something like that you're getting before bed, that's perfectly fine, especially if it's going to help with your macros. So if 35 grams of protein isn't enough, or if you're hungry before bed, have some Greek yogurt. I mean, that's going to be kind of a quick and simple little meal. Have, you know, a protein shake. You can do something small like that before bed that gives you your nutrients that you need and stops those hunger pains. So if you're hungry before bed, don't just, you know, ignore it. You can eat before bed. You just want to have some of the correct macros. And if you can't get this, Linda, yes, I can screenshot it to you. So I'm sure there's a lot more questions, so feel free to just send them to me. I tried to make it quick and easy. So whatever your weight is, sorry, I know my hand's shaking. Whatever your weight is what would be here. Whatever your goal is what goes here. And that's going to give you your total calories for the day. And then you want to split it up based on your protein, your carbs, and your fat. Your carbs and your fat can be, like I said before, they can be on a sliding scale. So you want to make sure you get at least 1 gram of carb per pound of body weight. If you're someone who's going to be very high activity level, you work out 4 to 5 times a day, you might want to be a little bit higher on the carbs. If you're somebody who doesn't work out as much, maybe 2 to 3 days a week, it's not really high intensity, you can be a little lower on the carbs, and then your fat, you'll just fill in the rest. So you'll take that total number. Sorry, trying not to make y'all seasick with how my hand's moving. This total number, and then whatever you get from your carbs and your protein, you'll subtract them, and that will be what you have left over for fat. It's kind of a down and dirty way of doing macros. But as I said, we are continuing Nutrition 101. We will continue to do it whenever we can reopen and get everything rolling again. I am thinking of doing the rest of, since this was week 3, I'm going to talk to Ray, who is our other nutritionist, and see what we want to do moving forward while we are shut down. If we just want to do another Facebook Live next Saturday to do week 4, let me know what y'all think about it, and we can figure that out. And then I can go over some groceries also here in a second. But so I can do, let me see. Let me try and do let's see, let's do a maintenance. So if it's 175, which is my weight in pounds, so you put your weight here, multiplied by 15. Sorry, hold on, I need to use a calculator. I can't do that in my head. Hang on just a second. I need the calculator. Okay, so for this example, if we do like a maintenance, I'll get rid of that so it's not confusing. We do maintenance, you would take 175 times 15, and that would give you 2,625 calories for the day, sorry. So again, your protein, you did 1 gram of protein per body weight, per pound body weight. That would stay the same. The same with the carbs. That would also stay the same. But what you would change, your fat content would be a little bit different. So your fat content is going to be a little bit higher. Oops. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. So if you take that total number and subtract it with that, so you would have, hold on, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing something right. Hang on just a second. So we have 15 to maintain. We'll keep our protein at 1 gram per body weight. So we're going to maintain our weight. We can just leave our carbohydrates also. So we'll have 1,700. So this would be that. So if this is higher, this would be, and then you divide that, let's say, by 5 meals a day. So now you're going to have 30 grams of fat per meal. So it kind of just changes the ratio of your protein, carbs, and fat. Your fat gets to be a little bit higher, but also recognize that fat is a higher calorie than your proteins and your carbs. So it's not going to be, you're not going to have like that much more fat, because it is 9 calories per gram as opposed to your protein and your carb. It won't be as much of a serving, I guess, as big of a serving, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But again, sorry, oh, my dog's playing. So again, even if you did that by 6 meals, it'd be like 20 grams of fat per meal. And then you'd still have 30 grams of 30 grams of protein and carbs per meal. And then to gain muscle, it's going to be even higher for everything. Somebody who is trying to gain muscle will probably increase their carbs. So here, instead of doing 1 gram of carb, they might do 1.5. Just because they are probably working out a lot more, a lot harder, lifting a lot heavier, so they're going to need those carbohydrates to help fuel their muscle. They want to have more glycogen stores, so when we talk about that, that's just the carbohydrates that get stored into the muscle. So you want more of all of that. It'll help fuel your workouts a lot more. You'll be able to recover better. So when somebody's trying to gain muscle, all of their numbers are going to be a lot higher. So, for example, 175 times 20, that's like 3,500 calories to be exact. So that's a lot of calories per day. Still about 175 grams of protein. But let's say they increased their carbohydrate intake. So that would be 262 grams of carbs per day. And then again, their fat would also change. Have any more questions or any examples y'all want to go over? I'm gonna turn this back around. Hello. So I don't know if whoever asked about the grocery list is still on here. So when you do get our book, it does, like I showed before, it does come with a macro guide. So these are all different, like this one is vegetables. So another kind of rule of thumb that we talk about is when it comes to vegetables, you don't really need to track them in your macros. They are such like a low calorie and lower in carb that I actually like to have any of my clients use them as a volume, kind of like a bulk. So measure your protein, measure your fats, measure your carbs. If you're using like leafy greens like spinach or anything like that, just put as much as you want in there. Usually when you measure out like an ounce of spinach, it's hardly anything. It's like 5 calories. It's like not even worth the trying to calculate that out. So eat as much vegetables as you want, especially like celery, stuff like that. It's mostly water, so it's a great snack. Have like a tablespoon of your favorite like nut butter, and you have a good little snack option. Another page, let's see. So we do have condiments on here. So if you are trying to track your macros in any way, make sure you're tracking your condiments, because there are calories in mustard, soy sauce, things like that. So, no limit on veggies, Isaac, yes. So you need to actually eat some vegetables. So eat as much veggies as you want with your meals. But like creamer, I know that kind of gets a lot of people if you don't measure your creamer. That adds up in calories. So if you think that you have, X amount of calories per day, but for some reason you're not meeting your goal, it could be, you're not measuring your peanut butter or your almond butter, you're not measuring your creamer you're putting in your coffee, maybe you're having like a sauce or something like that, or a marinade that you have with your chicken or steak, and you're not really measuring out how much that is. Those all have calories in them. They all have some kind of fat and some kind of carbohydrate in them as well. So that adds to your nutrients, like your macro content. Let's see. What else? The book also has this little paper guide, so you can kind of fill it in if you want to do it on paper. Kind of one of the easiest ways to do it is get like MyFitnessPal or even LifeSum. That's another good app that you can use to track if you would rather not to like do it on a piece of paper. So we also have, like I showed before, we also have this shopping list in there. One suggestion that we make is shop on the outside perimeter of the store. That's where all your fresh, frozen fruits and vegetables, all your meats, is all going to be on the perimeter of the store. So on the, like in the macro guide, Linda, with cheese, it's going to be like a full, like fat cheese. Get something like sharp cheddar. Feta is all right. We have mozzarella in there as well. Make sure it's not like Linda asked, there's not a lot of cheese on here. On the grocery list. So this is just an example. So there's not a lot of items like really on this list. This is just like a quick example, and for design purposes, it fit on this, so we didn't really add a lot to this so we can make it fit on one page. But sharp cheddar's all right, Colby Jack. Just watch servings. Mainly when it comes to things like that, it's going to be your serving size. It's really easy to just grab a whole bunch of cheese and put it on whatever it is that you're eating. But that all adds up in calories and protein. I mean, protein's going to be a good thing. All of your macros are a good thing. It's just going to be your serving sizes that's going to make the difference, your portion sizes. So if you're not weighing your food, you really don't know how much of each item you're getting. So 1 ounce of cheese is really small, but if you can make 2 or 4 ounces fit your macros, it's going to help you with your goal. As long as you can fit within your like macro range of the amount of carbs, fats, and proteins that you need, that's how you're going to be able to stick to your goals a little bit better. So yeah, we have like just a little handful of our fruits. All of our fruits are fine, whatever your favorite fruit is. Let's see, we have, try and get some fresh or frozen items. Try to limit how much you grab from your aisles when you go into a grocery store. That's going to be all packaged, processed items. They have to have like a lot of more sodium in them to keep them to allow them to sit on the shelf longer. So if you can get everything from around the outer perimeter of the store, that's going to be kind of your best bet. One thing we do have too is, let me find it. We kind of have a like this, not that type of thing. So if you have like pasta, you can get like Banza pasta, which I actually have one in my pantry. So This, we actually talked about in class, is Banza pasta. So this is actually made from chickpeas. So it has 23 grams of protein in it, and 8 grams of fiber. So having just some alternatives that you can get instead of just regular pasta. Get something like the Banza pasta or veggie pastas with yogurt. Grab Greek yogurt. It's going to have more protein in it. Stuff like ice cream and like popsicles. Grab like Halo Top, Enlighten. Within our book, I put a banana nice cream recipe in there, and then I also put like a popsicle recipe in there that's made with. This one is made with like Greek yogurt and berries, but you can also do like coconut milk or water and berries. And then you just stick them in your little popsicle makers and like molds, and then just throw them in the freezer. Let's see what else. You can also make your own dressings and like sauces, so that's one way. So you know exactly what you're putting in there. You can make them just for the week, and that way they won't go bad. You don't need to put a whole bunch of salt and all the other additives in there to make it last longer. For sugary cereals, the alternative would be something like oats, or they have Kodiak. Kodiak makes like a pancake and waffle batter. You can also buy their frozen waffles or their frozen pancakes. They do also have all-purpose baking flour. I found that the other day. So, and that's something that you can use. You can bake with it. I bought their what did I buy? It was their pancake mix, and I made banana bread with it, like chocolate chip banana bread with it. So you can do a lot of different things with something like that, and it's high in protein. What else? Instead of like vegetable or corn oil, use like plant oils. That would be a good alternative. Breads are fine. Get something that's like whole grain bread. Again, in our book, we have a list of like swaps. So you have, is Kodiak mix at HEB? Yes, it is, Leslie. You can find their frozen waffles and like flapjacks. You can find their pancake mix. It comes in like just a box. And then you can find their all-purpose like baking powder at in their like in the baking aisle. So with like bread options, Ezekiel bread is in the freezer. You can do whole grain or low-calorie English muffins. Mission, the brand Mission, has like protein tortillas and carb balanced tortillas. And then you can also do like rice cakes, whole grain bread, things like that. So there's a lot of alternatives. So one big thing that we do talk about is there's really no such thing as a bad food. It's really going to depend on how much of it you're having and when you're having it. So if you like to have sweets, plan it into your macros to have at night. Or before you lift, having something like that simple carb, simple sugar, when you're working out right afterwards, is a good way to have that and kind of enjoy it, but also utilize it for your workouts. So it's gonna help with that energy. Let's see, what else do we have? Do y'all have any more questions for me? I know that was a little down and dirty kind of way to do macros. If you can message, if you'll have any more questions, you can message the Facebook page and I'll answer other questions that you might come up with.